What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday, man. It is good to be back. And tonight I am excited because we get to share a story of success from addiction. And we got a good speaker on tonight. Man, we got our guest, Patrick Slattery. He is the owner of Real Recovery. And Nate's going to introduce him in a second. But first, if you guys are just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. Let us know how your weekend has been. Also, anything you're looking forward to this weekend. This week coming up. Damn, I'm just like all over the weekend, but flip flop. I worked all weekend. That's the problem. Hey, also, would you guys share this live feed as well? Let's see, Nate, I don't think you have the freaking clarity statement. Caesar's not here.
It's all you, buddy.
Well, I'm gonna send this to you one time. Not right now, but for backup. All right, here we go. Hope Shot clarity statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common: recovery as a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. Thank you for being a part of our family. And I mean that. Let's see who we got in here. We got Helen, man. Good to see you. Hey, Hope Shot. We got Crystal. All right, from Recovery Unplugged. What's up, Crystal? And we got Mike Miller. Hey, Hope Shot. What's up? What's up, y'all? All right, so let's get right into it, man. Get right into our speaker. Oh, wait, we got Ashley. Ashley, next weekend, Sunday, you're gonna come on with us. He asked us last week to come on this weekend, and I messed up and I forgot the speaker this week. So I said yes. So next weekend you're gonna come on with us. Let's see a couple more people. What's up, Tracy? What's up, Missy? What's up, Brittany? All right. So Nate, you want to go ahead and introduce our speaker?
Yeah, I'd be honored to. I've had the pleasure of working with Patrick for the last couple of years. Very humble guy, very connected to the recovery community, very dedicated to helping others, super involved. Not only where he lives, but in like the Tri-County area. He has I got this wrong, at our strategic plan, I think he has 7 houses. Tampa, Pinellas, and Pasco. And yeah, man, just it's cool to see where we can go once we get this deal, once we plug in and follow this path, where it can lead us. And it's cool to see how people thrive and find their purpose, and then take the gift that they've been given and build, so many places for people to get well in. It's an honor and a pleasure for me to introduce Patrick. So without further ado, Patrick, tell us a little more.
That was a great intro. Thank you, Nate.
7 houses. Did I get it right?
7 locations, 4 counties.
Yeah, 4 counties. Okay.
4 counties. Pasco is our newest area, and we started in Pinellas, went to Manatee, then came back to Hillsboro, and it's been a fun journey, man. That's for sure. It's really rewarding, but I'll get into that a little bit. I'm Patrick. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I got sober February 16th, 2015. So God willing, I'll have 8 years next month. And that was not my first time trying to get sober. So I'm 31. I got sober this last time at 23. I started trying to get sober at 19. But when I grew up, had a normal childhood. I was the youngest of 5 boys, so I had a big family. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I was in Boy Scouts. Like I was, doing all the right things, right? And I think I was around 13, 14. I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol, with weed and getting drunk, and I liked it. And got to party, and I got to socialize. And I thought I was kind of like ahead of the curve at a younger age of getting to start experimenting with drugs and alcohol, and I just felt like I was cooler because of that. And going into high school, that was my mentality. I was smoking weed regularly, and I was drinking on the weekends, and that kind of continued throughout my high school years. Wasn't an A student, but I wasn't failing anything. And around my junior year is when I started experimenting with like Xanax and a couple pills here and there, and just kind of getting crazy with random drugs. And consequences started happening around that time. I think my junior year, the drug dogs came to school, and I got suspended for got suspended for 10 school days and lost 5% off all my grades. And I was playing golf. I was a golf captain and all this, and I had the opportunity to go to college for golf, and I couldn't meet up with the grades because when I got suspended, I just couldn't catch up on any of my grades, and my GPA dropped, and I put all my eggs in this basket to go to Florida State, and it didn't happen. And so I kind of just gave up, so to speak, and just finished out high school and continued partying, and went to community college. I was calling it 13th grade just because I felt like all my friends are going off to universities and like moving on with their lives, and I just kind of felt stuck, and woe was me. And yeah, I started getting into harder stuff. Probably around that time, and started getting in trouble here and there, and got arrested twice, and been to in and out of rehabs, so jail a couple times, and just detoxes. And yeah, it was out of control, man. A couple overdoses, and just this is back when heroin was heroin, and not like what it is today with fentanyl. But yeah, it was just it was out of control. I was out of control, and I had gotten sober the time before this time, and I got sober in Tampa, and I got really connected, and like I saw that there was young people my age staying sober. I grew up in Sarasota, so there wasn't a ton of young people getting sober, and it didn't seem that appealing. Just because I didn't want to hang out with a bunch of old people and just feel like, oh, my life is over while people I know are going harder at college, and they're not having these consequences. And I was always it just always felt like, why am I not being successful in my drug and alcohol use? Why can't I just do it normally? And anyway, so I got sober in Tampa, and I saw that young people were actually like staying sober and having fun and like getting their lives together. And that's when I feel like it was that glimmer of hope. Like, okay, it's not all over. These people are young, and they seem they're having fun, and like they don't seem like they're full of shit. And I like that. So, I got really into it, and I went to a couple halfway houses in my journey, but I went to rehab, and I got out of rehab, and I went to this halfway house. I show up, the front door is ajar. There's no one there to like greet me or like sign paperwork. I'm like, okay, and I just find a bed with no sheets on it, and like, I guess this is mine. And that's how I moved in. And I didn't get drug tested for like 6 months while living there. It was kind of crazy in the sense of like, you only got drug tested if you were under suspicion. There wasn't like a ton of rules, like go to meetings and like, don't do anything stupid. And it was like a sober frat house. The house was kind of in rough shape. It was neglected in some ways. It was on well water. It smelled like sulfur. So the whole house, every time you brush your teeth, every time you took a shower, you just smelled like sulfur, and it was just really disgusting. And making coffee with sulfur water is not enjoyable, and it ruined your clothes in the washer. It was just one thing. But every time it rained, like the roof leaked, and we had pots and pans up and down the hallways, and there was like random cats coming into our rooms and stuff, and like I'm allergic to cats, and they're just strays. I don't think coming inside. And we had like 3 refrigerators plugged into like one outlet strip, so it wasn't the safest. But I saw the value in it because the group of guys I was there with, like, were actually, we would mess around, but like we were all we were all serious about being sober, and like we had this bond and the camaraderie that kind of grew there, and I saw the value of that. Like, okay, I need to have friends. I need to have friends that like are encouraging me to do better and want to be better. And like, I don't think I had that in my life. You know, looking back on past friendships and before I got sober, like that was not on anyone's mind. It was just like, how can we figure out scam, schemes, steal, whatever we got to do to all kind of get our money together to get high. And like, you know, it was all, you know, what's in it for me kind of attitude. Uh, so I was starting to see just in the time of being in that halfway house, like, this is what I need in my life. I need these guys in my life. I need people to be around that are sober and trying to do the deal. And some of those guys, a lot of those guys stayed sober. A lot of them are still in my life today. Some were at my wedding. Like, these were lifelong relationships that I was building at the time. And I didn't even know it was happening, really. Fast forward, you know, stuff was always going on at the house. Like, we would have bonfires whenever furniture broke, and like people would pick up furniture on the side of the road and bring it in, like, hey, we got a new dresser. And like, that was a continuous thing. With that came a lot of pest problems, cockroaches and bed bugs and everything you can think of, rats. But again, like, we kind of bonded over this, the living conditions, and it was fun for a while until one day, one of my roommates comes outside and he's like, hey, you need to come inside. There's a fire. I'm like, okay. And I go into the kitchen. I'm like, there's no fire. And he goes, no, it's in your bathroom. So I'm like, oh no, my roommate's smoking crack right now. And I thought he was. I run in there. My roommate's actually asleep. And the bathroom vent had shorted out and caught on fire. And there's black smoke everywhere. It's just like burnt plastic, and it just smelled terrible. So we go get the fire extinguisher, try to use it, and nothing comes out. We're like, oh, it's 5 years expired. So we all get like buckets of water, and like we're throwing water on electrical fire, panicking. And we put out the fire, and my roommate survived, and you know, we were fine. But it was one of those like wake up calls, like, okay, it's not funny anymore. I need to find somewhere else to live. So I started looking at other halfway houses, and like, they were all kind of par for the course in the sense of like the living conditions and like the programming. And it got to a point I was like, okay, then I should just probably just move out. You know, I think I'm ready. I mean, I can't keep living here, and everywhere else is kind of crappy. And so I moved out on my own because the 2 guys I wanted to move out with couldn't pass the background check and couldn't pass a credit check. So long story short, I moved out of my own apartment, and I do fine for a while. I do the classic thing of prioritizing work over my program. I start missing meetings and not calling my sponsor as much. It all kind of just started adding up, and like my behavior started acting out in different ways, and I started gambling randomly, and like it got ugly, and I was super unspiritual for like a couple months, and like started getting really miserable again, and I couldn't understand why. And I was just so oblivious to like, yeah, I'm abstinent from drugs and alcohol, but I have to continue the spiritual path, and I have to help other people try to get sober. And I wasn't doing that. I was kind of back to my selfish ways. And you know, I was abstinent, but I was still just miserable, selfish. All those old behaviors, you know, just were coming back. And eventually, you know, I just kind of blew up one night, and I went gambling and lost a bunch of money, and I started drinking that night, And from the time I started drinking, within 6 weeks, I had given everything I earned in recovery back. And I mean, the car, the job, the girl, friends, like it was just kind of burned all the bridges, back to square one. And I remember calling my family up and I'm like, yo, I screwed up again. I think I need help. And the best thing they ever said to me was, yeah, it sounds like you need help. Good luck with that. And they hung up the phone on me. And I was like, oh, shit. Um, I remember that moment. And I was just like, I knew in 5 minutes of talking to myself, like I had two options. I was at a fork in the road. I could continue on to what the bitter end, which I've done multiple times over, or go back to like rehab or something. And me and my landlord were getting in a fight because he expected me to pay rent, and like we were just the writing was on the wall, and I knew what I had to do. So I called. It was a Friday, and I called up this treatment center. They're no longer around, but they said, "Yeah, come in Monday." I was thinking, "Great, I can get it out of my system over the weekend, party, and just go back to rehab on Monday." And that's what I did. I told them I'd show up at noon. I think I rolled in around 4:30. Just blitzed and just added my mind. But they're like, just come in, like get your stuff in, just figure it out. And then I proceeded to have the longest detox of my life. It felt like it was like a 3-week detox. Like I was kicking it on the couch. I didn't go to like a medical detox. They like detox you in your apartment there, and like you can go to groups and stuff. And they had like these old like 13-inch TVs and like a DVD player, and someone left a bunch of Nicolas Cage DVDs. So I couldn't sleep for like 3 weeks. So I just literally sat on the couch every night and watched like different Nicolas Cage DVDs. And so I spent so much time. I'll always remember that because it was such a rough detox for me. And I had like caught the flu going around too. So it just like compounded all my symptoms, and it was just rough. But I remember I was so empty. Like I was so emotionally, spiritually, like physically just empty. Um, and the rehab, it wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything different from the other rehab trips I went to. It was just something in me was different. I had hit this bottom emotionally and mentally and physically that like I never really hit before. And I was just done. I was so over it. I was like gray looking. I was just, my eyes were sunken. I was just in rough shape. And I remember just telling myself, like, you just need to sit still. Sorry, I have a motion sensor light. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you just need to sit still.
So I remember telling myself I needed to sit still and not listen to myself for once and just take direction. So I was talking to a buddy of mine that I've known for years, and I was complaining about X, Y, and Z, and how my current sponsor at the time I couldn't get a hold of, blah blah blah. He just said to me, like, listen, man, I've been watching you do this dance for years, and do you own what you did in your addiction? And I was like, yeah, I own that. I don't blame anyone or circumstance or whatever. He goes, great. Now, how would you like to own your sobriety? And I was like, I don't know why that resonated with me. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to get after it. I want to do that. And so I proceeded to ask him to be my sponsor, and we did the most thorough step work of my life. And at the time, it's like, whoa, oh man, I really have to commit now and like actually be honest and thorough completely. And it's what I needed to do. And I think that was one of those big moments for me that kind of just things started changing, and like it wasn't just me going through the motions. It was me feeling everything and being I don't know how to being genuine and like being having integrity when I'm going through my step work and everything I was doing at the time, and like that was different because I was such a knucklehead looking back, and like having again just hitting that bottom and everything kind of happening the way it did. It really just resonated with me, and I started taking it serious. And I don't think I ever really took myself serious before. When it came to like getting better and improving myself. So yeah, fast forward, life started getting better, and who would have thought, you know? I wouldn't say it got easier at all. I think it's just like I got better at like utilizing the tools that I learned from getting sober and like actually calling upon people, and instead of like whenever I thought I had a great idea to run with it, but actually just call anybody else and they can give me better advice. So yeah, it really, I don't know, something changed and it started getting better. And then I had this opportunity. I had a real estate background, and I had an opportunity to start up. It was something I always wanted to do, was start up a halfway house program. And I wanted to do something different. Instead of getting like just a house and like stacking a bunch of guys in there, I thought about doing something different with like apartments, and like where you could have a whole community together, but they don't feel stacked on top of each other. And yeah, so I got in and I moved into this apartment complex in St. Pete, and it was different because I was so immersed in Tampa AA and Tampa recovery. And it was, even though St. Pete's only a 15-20 minute drive across the bridge, I felt like I was just like totally in a different pond. And because I was, and I felt like a newcomer again, going to meetings and like going up to people I didn't know and like introducing myself. But it was so great because I got to meet the first meeting I went to was out in Blind Pass area, and I just, kind of put aside like whatever ego and fear I had, and just went up to this group of guys, introduced myself, and they invited me out to sushi after the meeting, and we all hung out. And I'm still friends with a bunch of those same guys today. Just hung out with a couple of them last night, and it's just it's crazy to think that like I did not go in expecting to make more lifelong friendships in these just little interactions. I just was trying to overcome this fear of not being in my safe bubble over in Tampa. And then I went to St. Pete, and then I've grown a network and a life out in St. Pete now. So again, we have this 19-unit apartment complex, and I physically was actually just remodeling each unit while I lived on site, and we furnished it with new furniture. We didn't take donations because of my, I guess, my response to previous halfway houses, and I didn't want to have that again. And we started off with one page of rules, and like we made sure we were on top of our drug testing and actually like holding people accountable. Fast forward today, I think we're up to 8 pages of rules because there's always a name and a story behind each rule that we've added over the years, because we're creative people, man. If we see a workaround, we're gonna find it. I lived and learned a couple times. And we went and got they passed legislation that required halfway houses to actually get accredited through the state, through Florida Association of Recovery Residences. And what that is basically it's a bureau under the DCF umbrella that basically it certifies and monitors halfway houses across the state, and it gives people a sense of holding halfway houses accountable. So if people are being mistreated, like all the stories we've heard over the years around the state, they can file a grievance over to FAR, and FAR can actually do an investigation of the halfway house. And I think that's amazing. I thought it was great back then, and I still do to this day. I believe in that mission 100%. I feel like people are vulnerable when they move into transitional housing, and people can take advantage of that. And so I'm a huge believer in there needs to be accountability in this industry. So that was a process in itself, just getting accredited. I think it took me like 9 months to get FAR accredited. And with that, I'm able to get referrals from treatment centers, and they can know that they're sending to a viable place that's held accountable. And again, creating safety for people that are new in recovery. We've grown since then. We started off with those 19 units. They were 50 beds out in St. Pete, and we went to Bradenton and kind of replicated the same thing out in the Bradenton area over by the community college out there. And then I had one of the opportunities to go back to the halfway house that I was talking about earlier and buy it from the old owners and remodel it and put life back into it and continue to keep it kind of in the realm of recovery, because it was a great place and it helps hundreds of guys before me, and it was such a pillar in the recovery community. And so I'm proud to be a part of that and be able to go in, remodel the whole thing down to the studs. And today it's a beautiful house, and we got some great guys over there. And then I was able to expand to the last treatment center that I went to. They went out of business, and I was able to kind of same deal. I was able to go in, remodel it, and kind of keep it. Again, it was a pillar in the community for like 30 years. And so I was able to kind of continue that torch of like, this is a place of hope. This is a place where you can come in safe. And it's amazing. It really is. I'm super proud to be a part of all that. And then we went out to Brandon and Clearwater, and then most recently it was Newport Richey. I know there's been a huge need in the Pasco area for years and years. And so I'm really proud that we got to kind of do the same thing out in Newport Richey off of 19 in Gulf. And it's been fun. It's been a fun journey so far. In my personal life, since I've gotten sober, I've gotten married. I've had two beautiful boys, a 3.5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they are reckless and awesome and cute and also devious all at the same time. And just, it's amazing. And it's humbled me, and it's made me so grateful for my parents. I don't know how they stayed together / kept their sanity raising 5 boys when I got 2, and I'm like pulling my hair out some days. They're not even teenagers yet. And yeah, I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. Today, I get to be a father. I get to be a partner. I get to be a son again. I remember the moment when my parents gave me the spare key to their house, and I was like, whoa, why are you giving this to me? And I have no reason to ever go to your house without you. They're like, you never know, just in case. And I still haven't used it, but it's just that symbol of trust that came back just by doing the deal. And I remember they came and visited me in rehab, because they didn't believe I was in rehab. So they came and visited me. And they did that age-old question from parents of like, what's going to be different this time? And I remember just saying to them, like, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you want to hear, because I've done that already. Like, I'm just going to keep showing you, and that's it. Like, I don't need to tell you all the fluff, and, I'm here. So I'm going to just stay present and be here and continue on. And so far, it's been great. And I get to be a brother today. I got to help 2 of my brothers get sober as well. So that's been really cool. Different with family, that's for sure. And since we've opened, man, I've made some great friendships. My best man at my wedding works with me. He also was at the halfway house that I was at. A couple of guys that work with me were at the same halfway house as I was at, and a couple alumni got to step up and come work for me. And like, it's great that like we get to continue, pushing this model. And like, we want to like make sure that like there's a community. Like, I want everyone to have that same experience of like camaraderie that I got to experience, because I saw so much value in those relationships looking back. And I want people to continue having those opportunities. And also just making sure it's a clean environment. I can't stress that enough. Making sure that if something's broken, we fix it right away. Like maintain a good living condition where it's clean and respectable and safe. And because not everyone has that opportunity, and it sucks. So I want to make sure we give guys that hope and that room to not have to come home and worry about everything, or at least not worry about it. Is my place to be clean and safe? Are people going to be getting high? And am I going to be able to not worry about my stuff getting stolen? And yeah, man, it's been an amazing journey. We've helped out over 3,000 guys since we've started, and it's not just those stories of the guys getting sober, but seeing them get reconnected with their parents, getting reconnected with their spouse and their children, and watching that all kind of come back together. It's amazing. And then they come back and they sponsor guys, and they come to our events, and they're just I don't know how to describe it. It's just watching this community grow is just really cool. And yeah, I'm blessed today for sure. That's all I can say. You're on mute, Justin.
Damn it. Not again. Am I on mute still? I'm good, right?
You're good.
Okay, good. What an awesome story, man. Patrick, you are just an awesome individual. I don't think I know anybody better that should be doing what you're doing, and not take advantage of it. You know what I mean? Like me and Nate talk about it all the time. Like you're that dude that should be doing what you're doing, because it's very, very, very much needed. And like you just said, 3,000 men that that wouldn't have an opportunity to go to a safe place if it wasn't for your facilities. And we do a lot of work with you as well. I'm just gonna put us in the four corners. And it's cool to see that, because I mean it's important that some coming out of this thing, they come out of treatment center, they come out of detox and go to treatment, and then from treatment, where do they go? Back to the same crap, and then what? That success rate is garbage. It's never going to work out. We don't know how to be healthy. You know what I mean? We don't know how to recover. We don't even know what it looks like. And going back into the same bullshit, or maybe even be on the streets. So, man, kudos to you, man. I really think you're doing some amazing stuff. Nathan, Janelle, you want to?
Thanks, Justin.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to kind of just what Justin was just saying, that transition from jail or from treatment, when you're in there for X amount of days, and you're released back into your community, and what's next? I think that is the most precarious and vital time for people like us to either get this or not, and and like you said, all throughout your story, what I kept hearing is that power of community, the power of connection, and what happens once we tap into this power, once we connect with the right group of guys in the right environment, all like-minded souls kind of heading in the same direction. There is such momentum and force behind that movement that it's you can get swept away in it, in the best possible way. And I just and just that number, like Justin said, man, 3,000 people, the ripple effect, of people that have been touched and exposed to this way of life, and the families, the children, and it just goes on. And then, they become, members of the community and helping others. It's just it's cool because, there was a time when when I was, out there, I would be nobody's got my back. There's nobody wants me to do better. There's nobody there. Nobody cares. And, I get into this deal and I meet, people like you. I meet people like Will. I meet people that are heavily involved in our community, constantly finding various ways, working with, the police, working with the firemen, working with politicians, and super active, trying to figure out more ways to help guys like us. Like the stuff that goes, then that's doing this type of work as an RCO and a nonprofit. I have been blessed to see behind the scenes and just how much people care. Not just us, not people that are active. Like I said, politicians, police officers, judges. Like there is a movement. I don't know if people are aware of it or not, but it's active, and we are blessed to be in this area because people are busy behind the scenes trying to help and figure out innovative ways to make that transition more seamless. And it's such important work that you do. And like I said, it's we just you guys kind of show us the way, you know what I mean? Like, because we're new kids on the block here. We're just figuring this stuff out. And it's like you said, though, man, just to be a part of something, and to be involved in that sort of movement is so gratifying and fills me with such sense of purpose because I can live out my dream on a daily basis, which is to reach the unreachable and try to get somebody that was seemingly hopeless and expose them to this community that is around us. And it's powerful stuff, man. I like I said, super grateful to be on this path with people like you, like Janelle, Justin, all of you guys. It's very humbling, and I just try to show up and do my part. But it's a heck of a ride, man, once you plug into this thing.
Oh yeah.
I want to say one thing too, and then I'm gonna let Janelle say some. The whole Boy Scout thing. I guess they didn't prepare you for the shit that was gonna happen in the future, huh? And there was no knot to tie on that shit,
No, man, it was I was Eagle Scout. I did altar boy. Like I did, God bless my parents. They did everything to like try and instill, and it wasn't like from a lack of like I didn't have a conscience or I didn't know right from wrong. It was just like that mental threshold was crossed when I was experimenting, trying to be cool, and like I didn't see that at the time, and then I just kind of I liked it. I liked the way it made me feel, and then I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. Like what the hell, and
yeah, it's no matter what, you're never prepared for what's to come because. I mean, whatever's coming, it's on its way, no matter what you do. And you never know who's going to end up, addicted these days. Shit, man. How many people are getting addicted and they're like, I'll never, ever, ever. And next thing you know, man, you hurt yourself. You break your leg. You freaking tore a disc, whatever it looks like. Next thing you know, bam, you on them painkillers and then make you feel like free falling. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And next thing you know, man, like you're hooked. And you didn't ever in your life expect it. There's so many people, that it happens to. And no matter how you're brought up, no matter how you're raised, no matter nothing, So I'm going to, Janelle, what's up, yo?
Holla Wody. Now, I really liked what you said, Patrick, about responding that life doesn't get easier. You just kind of learn how to deal with it better, and I think for me, because I had zero coping mechanisms, never learned them. Even when I had opportunities to learn them, I didn't know how to start utilizing them. And then you get sober and it's like, oh shit, life is still going to happen. It's not all kitty cats, rainbows, gumdrops, and unicorns that shit glitter. Like the hell is this? That's how I got my name, because I say that all the time, because it's not, I got sober and then lost everything I owned, and then, lost a lot of people in my life and all of that. I didn't have that happen before. I'm a late bloomer with that. So it's one of the coolest things is to not only learn how to deal with stuff as it comes, and it's easy. It's not that life got easy, as I've learned how to deal with things easier, but to be able to watch other people do that too. Because working in the field as well as, you know, being in recovery myself, that is one of the biggest miracles to get to see all the time. Definitely blessed to see that. So I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you.
You know, it's the work. Like Janelle used to be my counselor. Back in the day, you know. So
So she knows the crazy Justin. That's
oh.
Oh no.
Oh. I was a hot mess, dude. I was coming in hot all the time.
Ghetto mess. Hot
Yeah.
ghetto mess. It was mess.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. It's like all these, the work you do has a trickle effect, and you never know if you'll probably never see it either. You know, you might not ever, but it has a trickle down effect, just like Nate was just saying with you know, the guys and their kids and there's kids and their kids and parents and this, that, and the other thing. That one person is like a tree, it's like a branch, is all out, man, into this world. And that's the good shit about it right there. Because that one person that you change is going to go out there and freaking change other people and change. And it's just, look, you probably, I mean, 3,000. So it started with like a couple people. And next thing you know, man. And then those 3,000 probably helped another 3 or 4 or 6 or 12. Who knows? You know, it's just the way it is, man. And that's the we of this program. You know,
and everybody's an example, whether good or bad, man. You know, good, bad, or the ugly. It's just like everyone's an example of like what sobriety can look like. And what, you know, and what addiction can really look like and take you out.
Nate, just unmute and talk, bro.
All right, cool. I didn't want to cut anybody off. Sorry, I'm a dork.
It's
Mr.
okay.
Awkward, here we are. Yeah.
I was gonna high five you.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask a question since we're talking about, you know, sober living and transitional houses. I got a question for Patrick, which is, you know, what somebody that's you know, getting out of treatment or getting out of jail and they don't see the point of coming to a sober living, or what, they don't know what it is. What like if someone was like completely clueless about what you did at your sober living, because I know all the services that you provide, but not a lot of people do. And what is the benefit, like opposed to like, or compared to like just, you know, getting out of prison or treatment and going back to the same environment? Like what, you know, what are the pros and cons? What's the benefit of that for somebody that doesn't know?
Yeah, I think a lot of the pros, like you said, like not everyone's situation going back straight back home is that great. Either there's still drug or alcohol abuse at home, maybe you know, the spouse or family doesn't want you home, and like it's kind of just messy. And that's usually the case because that's what we do. We leave a wreckage. We don't go to rehab for 30 days and everyone's like, all right, come on home, we want you back. It's like, no, like you need to take a step back and like kind of still get your life back together. Because again, like it's not it's pretty easy to stay sober. I won't say in prison, but like you know, pretty in rehab, you're in a bubble. And like this transitional housing is where it's like all the tools that you just learned getting sober and like coping, and now you get to apply them in a real world setting, but you're still coming home to a safer environment where you're held accountable. There's case management there, and there's other people there that are kind of like a sober support network built in. At the same time, you know, if you don't have a job, social security card, like if you don't have like the basics, like we're there to help you. We help guys get gym memberships for free, bus passes. We kind of help them like sit down. What do you need to kind of get your life rebooted, so to speak? And then there's some guys that like they have those things. If they even have a job waiting for them when they get back. So like what's encouraging them to jump all the way back into the household as opposed to like, you know, staying with us where it'd be like, you know, the only downside is you got to share a room with someone. You kind of have to answer other people. You have to be accountable still. There's a curfew. Like you have to follow rules. And like, I don't know about you, but I was newly sober. I didn't want to follow rules. those didn't apply to me. Like, I didn't want to have to deal with that crap. Like, who are you? What, you're 6 months sober and you think you know how to run my life better than me? And the answer is yes. Like, most people at that time knew how to run my life way better than I did. I knew only how to run into the ground. But with us, it's like, there's someone that's going to hold you accountable. There's someone who's you're going to have to answer to, but like, they're going to guide you. They're going to support you. They know what they're doing because they're trained, they're certified, and they're sober as well. They've been through most of those first, newly sober hurdles that we go through, whether it's, family doesn't trust you, or you got an uninvited Thanksgiving, or your wife are going through custody stuff with your kid. Like, those are all real life things that are consequences of your actions from addiction. And then you get sober and cleaned up and you wake up and you walk out the door of the rehab center and all the life has still been happening. All those problems did not go away and they're there right in your face. And it can be overwhelming and daunting. So like, being able to come to us, whether we always encourage guys to stay between 9 and 12 months, get through all your steps, just kind of like stay sober for a year, get full rotation around the sun of just being sober, being held accountable, start practicing some principles that are going to elevate your life. And maybe you'll have fun along the way. Maybe you'll make some friends. Maybe you'll see that, sobriety isn't work, meeting, sleep. There's way more than that, and that's why we try to encourage these guys. We're not just checking boxes here. We're trying to get our lives back and then some. But and not every place is like that. Not every place is like my program where like you have someone there that's there to support you. Like, some guys, they come home and everyone's at work and they're just like chilling at home at a house. Not everyone's going to meetings. Not everyone does drug testing as regularly as we do. And I found that with our program, with all those factors in place, guys have substantial more chance of increasing long-term recovery. And then there was a study done that came out last year. I don't have it in front of me, but statistically speaking, you have a 90% chance of long-term recovery if you're in a transitional house anywhere from 9 to like 18 months. Like, that's insane. 90% increase. Like, I kind of called BS on it, to be honest with you, because I was like, that's insane to me to think that all it takes is like committing yourself to like a year, and it's not a lockdown facility. You have to leave, go to jobs, go to meetings. Like, you still have to interact with the world. But something about having that structure and that support and somewhere safe just makes such a huge difference while your brain is still healing, while your soul is still kind of coming back. And so downside, you got to share it with the guy. I mean,
yeah, but we usually share a whole house. We're couch surfers in our addiction, so it doesn't really fucking matter.
Well, you'd be surprised. Some guys, they get sober and all of a sudden they feel entitled to a lot of things. And I've been there, I'm sure, in early sobriety too. Like, I deserve this and all that. I forget that I was just, sleeping in my car a month before. That built-in forgetter, man. I forget how bad it was. And it's not until like you continuously like meet guys and hang out with guys in early recovery, go to meetings, hear the stories about people coming back to the rooms, hear the stories of people in detox when you H9.
Just throw something, bro.
When I put that in, I was really excited because that means I won't sit down too long. And now it's just kind of a headache.
Yeah, get you up, man. Get the blood flowing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't have one of those stand-up desks with like the treadmill or anything. You're still on mute, Nate.
Yeah, I was listening.
Oh,
Justin, do we got any comments?
Yeah, let me read some comments real quick. Thanks, Nate. I was a little stuck.
Yeah, I do what I can.
Appreciate you. All right, so we got Brittany says, that's amazing. God bless you for the work you have done.
you.
Lauren Bowen says we need one in Hernando, Citrus, Sumter area. So what's next, man? Like what's the move? You gonna keep going north? Is this something like you just
I've met programs from all over the country, and it's kind of like there's a need everywhere. And so, like, wherever kind of let God kind of just point out, like, where do I need to go next? That's kind of how it's been happening so far. I know that we were looking at Lakeland, the greater Orlando area. Really, it's just there's a need everywhere. So it's kind of a lot of factors to finding the right location, making sure we're not in the hood seems to be the priority. And then having public transit nearby, making sure we're not next door to a liquor store. It's like, if you want to get drunk, but try not to put it right next door. And, there's a lot of factors that comes into making sure it's going to be a right fit location wise. And I think that's probably the hardest part of everything. It's just that finding that I wouldn't even say perfect, just that right place that like can encourage people to be in a safe environment. But yeah, I'm glad to know about Hernando too.
Yeah, not in the ghetto next to strip clubs, all those things. It's not location. It's all about location. Especially with that. Let's see. We got Brittany says, I feel you about your kids. My little girl hit terrible twos at 18 months. She's so feisty and she's not even 2 yet. Her own little personality. Yeah, the twos are rough. I'm glad
my 3-year-old is a 3-nager right now and just
y'all ain't seen shit yet. Y'all ain't seen nothing.
Thanks, Janelle, for the for the words of encouragement.
But if my dumbass survived 2 teenagers, y'all got this. I'll pray for you.
Thank you.
Let's see. We got Beth says, bravo for all you've done and continue to do, Patrick.
Thank you.
Lauren says, keep it up. Love y'all. Let's see. Allie, what's up, Allie? She says, what a way to give back. Helen says, congratulations on Eagle. She is actually a scout leader as well.
Oh, nice.
Yep. We got Against the Odds Ministries up in the house. Share the Hope Shot fam. Thank you so much, my friend. Let's see. We got Surviving Self Battles. From one act to another, there is hope. Becoming sober is never easy without proper support. Sometimes family can't help because they become your enabler. Appreciate you so much, Patrick.
That's real. I mean, I deal with a lot of parents and that are still enablers, and like I encourage them to seek professional help, go to Nar-Anon, Al-Anon, whatever kind of support they can get. But it's so tough. And now being a parent, I'm like, I get it. Like, that's so tough. And like the courage and strength my parents had to have just to say like, good luck. And they hung up the phone on me. Like, I'm sure that it crushed them, but I had worn them out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this kind of time. And so,
yeah,
I feel you on family enablers and mothers.
Yeah, the best thing that happened to me is I got hung up on. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best thing they could done for me, man, because it's hard, man. It's like there is no right or wrong answer to this whole deal. You know, what is it? You know, it's either you're doing too much or you're doing too little, you know? Yes, it is.
Don't give your kid a BMW when they graduate rehab. Like, start there. Like, don't do that. That didn't happen to me. I just seen it happen a million times. And like,
really?
Oh yeah, they want the key needs a car to get a job. Like, the bus is right there.
Damn. I was straight up bicycle and bus. I didn't even get a bus pass.
I didn't even have a bike. I had one of the guys give me a bike.
Yeah. Steve wants to know, what is the cost?
This is a good question. So it's $850 a month. It comes down to like $27 a day, I think, something like that. So the state average is $900 a month. And then we have a one-time move-in fee of $150. So what we try to do is do like a prorate. So if they move in the middle of the month, we try to take like 2 weeks and the move-in fee. Try to make it affordable, but that includes everything besides transportation and food. But we do give guys information and access to help sign up for food stamps, to go to the local pantries, and whatever we can help. And obviously, if they move in at 7 o'clock at night, their roommates are probably going to feed them, and just like that's just kind of how we do things,
Yeah. And it's cool is like you have such a big you have a lot of resources that you provide. You shared a little bit with us on your website and all your I think it was your newsletters or something like that, and you show all these resources and all these things that you have pretty extensive, and I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
You've done your homework.
We try to add value. We're continuously trying to add value, and like what do people need, and try to meet those needs for them.
Yep, that's awesome. Let's see. We got Rudolph says, I agree with her. Hernando area would definitely be good. We got Ashley says, great story. Love what you're doing. I was in a recovery house for 18 months and it gave me sustainable recovery. Time makes all the difference. It's hard to find truly safe places to recover in. Thank you. Let's see.
A lot of Hernando. Another Hernando.
Yeah, we got Melissa with Sober Now. Hey, Hope Shot. What's up, Melissa? She's going to watch the replay. Let's see. Beth says, the toughest. I work Al-Anon as a part of my recovery. And that's pretty much it, man. Patrick, thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing your story, man. We appreciate all the work you're doing. Really doing some amazing things, man. What this county needs and what this every area needs, to be honest with you, a safe place, and I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys let me come on and tell my story, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I like working with you guys, and like just Pasco in general. I just want to say, like, I'm so impressed day after day about how much collaboration and support the Pasco community has for people in recovery. Like, you don't see that everywhere, and so I give you guys a lot of credit there.
Thank you. Well, that's it. You guys got anything else you want to add?
No, thank you, Patrick, very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. We go live every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Last Sunday of the month, and we're going to be sharing stories of success from active addiction. So join us next Sunday, 8 p.m. live right here on the Hope Shot. Have a good week, everyone. See ya.